everybody. So now what we're going to be doing, now that we've been learning about Kehinde Wiley and all of the amazing portraits that he does of people and the patterns that he designs and put behind them, we are going to be creating our very own pattern to put behind a portrait of ourselves. So when you think about a pattern, it's a design that's repeated over and over again, right? Pattern and repetition are linked so much in the art world, right? Because you can't have a pattern without repetition. So what I'm going to do first is, for all of my portraits, I've been kind of folding my corner crease so that I don't have to work up into the edge. And I usually trim it there when I'm done just to make the edges look cleaner. You don't have to do this, it's just something that I like to do so that I don't feel like I have to work right up to the edge and my pencil's not going off my paper constantly. So what I'm going to do when I develop my pattern is I think I'm going to start from the corner here. And I haven't drawn myself yet, that's okay. What I want to start with right now is developing a pattern. As far as drawing yourself goes, guys, please remember there's a Google document sheet with a bunch of drawing tips on how to draw yourself. I should have shared it with you by now. Well, I know I have. Future me definitely will. As well as there is a document on Schoology that's the same as the Google document with all of those images on how to draw yourself, as well as video links for how to draw everything as well. So really what I want to show you on this video isn't how to draw yourself, but how to design your own pattern. So I think my pattern is going to be sunflowers. So probably sunflowers and strawberries. So what I'm going to do to start is maybe find something that I can use to trace over and over again for the sunflower head. So maybe I'll borrow this really silly pen's log holder to trace for my circles. So what I think I'm gonna do, and I highly recommend this, you can either draw yourself first and then draw your pattern behind you, or you can make your pattern the entire page and then draw yourself on a separate piece of paper, cut that picture out, and then glue it down on top of your pattern piece once you're done, which is what I'm definitely gonna do. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna figure out where do I want all of my sunflowers. Now the reason that I decided to use something to trace is because I want them to be as similar as possible, right? It's essentially the same design repeated and over again. So you want to think about what's something that I like to draw or I want to draw that I can repeat over and over again. And it doesn't have to be a flower, guys. It doesn't even have to be something that looks like anything. Maybe it's shape, right? Maybe it's dots like Yayoi Kusama. Her art is pattern and repetition. It could be triangles, it could be a bunch of different shapes, it could be line, it could be anything simple. Pattern is really anything, as long as it's repeated. Think about wallpaper, think about clothing designs, think about carpet designs. Patterns are everywhere. Right now, my picture kind of looks like a Yayoi Kusama picture, doesn't it? Because I haven't added my petals yet. Alright, so I think I have enough sunflower heads started. Maybe now I want to go in and I want to add those center parts, and I would say the more detailed you get with the pattern, the cooler the end result ends up looking. And finding things that you have around your house to help you develop your pattern goes a long way, right? Using these circles instead of me trying to eyeball it and spending time making sure they're perfect. You know, use a ruler, use something to trace, or pick something that isn't super difficult. If if you make your pattern the hardest thing in the world, it's going to take you forever because you have to keep drawing it over and over again. Okay, now I'm ready to add my petals. So when you draw patterns, guys, and this is important, this applies to everyone, you want to make sure that you're letting your patterns run off the page. Not everything is going to be perfectly centered in the picture. Having the pattern run off the page definitely adds to the aesthetic, right? It makes it look like it's kind of endless and it just keeps going. So at this point, I'm pretty much done the basic part of my pattern. Now maybe, just like Kehinde Wiley adds details, now I'm going to add some details as well. I'm going to add some petal details in the form of line. Right? Maybe you remember the line song from Scratch Garden. And you don't have to choose nature just because I did and Kehinde Wiley did. Doesn't mean you have to do leaves or flowers or nature. Like I said before, your pattern can be anything you want as long as it's repeated. Okay, got some petal details. Now all I need to do is add some center of my sunflower details, and I think my pattern's good to go. So I think some of my center details are going to be these little kind of rings that are around different parts of the seeds of the sunflower. Kind of looks like a sun, right? Maybe that's why they're called sunflowers. Nah, I'm just kidding. They're called sunflowers because they love the sun. They need like up to 8 hours of sun a day. I grow sunflowers every summer in my garden. They're very cheap and you can harvest them every year. Just keep the heads and then just plant the seeds the next year. And they get tall. They get up to like 10 feet tall. They're pretty cool. Okay. So this would be repeated for all of them, right? I'm not going to make a hour-long video of me drawing that over and over again, but you get the idea. Everything I do on this center would be repeated over and over again on my other sunflowers. And then when I'm done drawing myself, I would cut it out and put it there wherever I want it, right? Figure out if I want it in the center, do I want it off to the side? I think that's kind of the cool idea of that. So, I would say step number 1 is finish your pattern paper, right? And then what I'll do as I start to finish my drawing, I'll make another video down the road in a week or so of adding that final step, adding yourself onto that. But there is a finished student work example on Schoology in the folder for this assignment that you can check out. All of these assignments, guys, keep in mind, you don't have to do them exactly like me or the examples. I love when you guys get creative and put your own twist on everything. So see if you can figure out what's a pattern to show what you love to doodle and what you love to draw. Maybe you want to find an Art Hub for Kids video of something and use that to draw the start of your pattern, and then repeat that over and over again as well. So that's it, guys. I think that would look cool if it was dark. Oh yeah. Let me just finish this one sunflower. And I always add color last. Like I said before, I'll post all of my finished pieces with color. And usually what I do is I start with pencil, I'll outline in ballpoint pen or fine tip Sharpie, erase everything, and then add color last for that finished look. If you don't have color though, you know, I never take off points. You can leave it as is if you prefer as well. Alright, well there's our pattern portrait started, guys. Let's get to work, let's make our patterns, and let's have fun with it. And please feel free to make sure you're checking Kehinde Wiley's work that I posted as well for inspiration to check out some of his patterns. Thanks, everyone.